I'm going to trial in a master calendar jurisdiction. What can I do to be as prepared as possible?
Most people probably understand what master calendar versus direct calendar is, but at the risk of restating the obvious, master calendar tends to happen in larger urban areas, and it is a system where the goal is to keep every courtroom with a trial all the time. And the thought process behind it is really quite wise. Courtrooms are expensive between a judge, a clerk, potentially a bailiff, all the staff, and all the resources that go into a department. You want to make sure that there's always something happening in that room. Master calendar's goal is to make sure that they get maximum use of the courtrooms. That's the benefit of master calendar. The downside is when you get to a judge, the judge does not know your case at all. Whereas a lot of other jurisdictions use what's known as a direct assignment. That's a judge who, from the moment you file your case, hears any issues in the case. They hear disputes during discovery. They really will get some familiarity with what's going on in the case. And if there are games, let's say you've got opposing counsel who might be a challenge and might be doing certain things, the direct assignment judge is going to know the other side better and really have started forming some opinions about the case. So all that said, if you're in a master calendar department, one of the challenges is you have no idea what judge you're going to get. And to the extent that you are in, say, like Los Angeles, the master calendar system can sometimes have you getting a courtroom that's, on the other side of the county. And for those who are familiar with Los Angeles, that can from Torrance to Lancaster is a long ways away. So the best way to deal with master calendar is to gather as much intelligence as possible. So, for example, we have a case going out a week from today in San Francisco. San Francisco is a master calendar department. So where was I this morning? I was in master calendar. Why was I there? I was there because I wanted to see how many cases are getting out, how many judges are there, what cases from this week are getting kicked to the next week. And so by going and seeing how many cases are trailing versus how many cases are getting assigned, I get a better sense as to whether we are likely to get a courtroom or whether we are not. I also get to see which judges just got new cases. So if they're judges who I am hoping I might get, I know, okay, well, they just started with a new case, so they're unlikely, and it's a 20-day case, I'm unlikely to get that judge in this case. Similarly, if you are in a master calendar area where there are judges who you might not want, and you might be considering using a challenge to not have that judge, if you know that judge just took a case, it helps you inform you on whether you might choose to strike a different judge. So one of the challenges is you only get one strike. If you strike a judge, you could very well end up in another judge's department who is just as bad as the judge that you struck. The other thing that can be really helpful is the Thursday before, and I recommend Thursday because a lot of departments in master calendar on Fridays are doing things other than trials. On Thursday, going to the courthouse and walking the department and seeing which departments have cases in trial so that you start getting a sense of, okay, well, there are 3 open judges or there are no open judges. Or the case that I heard was going out and going to be 20 days. Well, they settled 2 days into it, and now that judge is available again. Again, the more information you gather about the status of cases, the more you're going to go in with confidence in terms of knowing the likelihood of getting a department. And why do you care about all of this? Master calendar is incredibly frustrating for figuring out one's own trial schedule and helping one's client understand the process. Because when you say to a client, we're going to trial on July 20th. But what that means is we're going to show up and maybe we'll have a courtroom and maybe we won't. And we might trail for a week or we might trail for 2 weeks. And if we don't get a courtroom, we might be reassigned in August or January. The more you know and the more you can predict what is likely to happen, the more at ease your client is going to be with the process. And also the Tetris of trying to schedule your experts and being ready for trial is easier if you know versus don't know when you're going to go.
This is my layperson showing, but today I learned that you can challenge a judge, and I thought you could only challenge jurors, having been challenged myself and removed from a jury.
Yes. Mr. Kern did not want you in a taxi case. An additional piece on that. That's California State Court. And I know our listeners are all over the place and practice in different jurisdictions. So I feel like I'm giving a disclaimer here, but that's not the intent. But you can use what's known as a California Code of Civil Procedure 170.6 challenge. And it is I have reason to believe that this judge cannot be fair to me or my client. You don't have to state a reason. You just have to make the statement that's the case. And that judge is taken off the case and you are assigned to a different judge. Oftentimes, if you challenge one judge, you're going to end up with the next least great judge in the roster. And what's really interesting is a lot of jurisdictions now, the bench is really solid, and you don't see as many judges where there are challenges as, say, years ago. There were certain areas where you worried about, if I challenge this person, if I challenge Judge Smith, I'm going to end up with Judge Draconian. And so you really had to weigh your options in terms of how this worked out. In federal court, you cannot challenge a judge. So it doesn't matter if you don't like your judge or your judge is showing signs of huge bias in the case. The old joke that I may have told you at some point is, do you know the difference between God and a federal judge?
Let's say I don't.
God does not think that God is a federal judge. So federal judges have a lot of power that can only be removed through impeachment by the Senate. It's a lifetime appointment, and there's no challenge there. Hopefully this has been helpful for folks, and particularly if you're getting ready for trial. If there are questions that you have on this or other areas, we'd be happy to address them. Hit us at podcast@coopers.law with any questions, comments, feedback you might have for the show. If you found this helpful, we would love your 5-star review, and we'd love for you to share this with anyone who you think might find it beneficial, particularly folks who are getting ready for trial. So to all of you doing justice out there, happy hunting.